evening. Welcome to Franco, Cabaldi, and other stories that go bump in my head. I am your host, the Glom, a good-looking old man. So, Franco Cabaldi, he walks up to me in the shop, right, and he says to me, "My name, my name is Franco Cabaldi, international man of mystery." And I said to him, "You, sir, are an impostor and a liar." He said, "No, no, no. How can you say that to me? I am Franco Cavalli, international man of mystery." I said, "No, sir. You, you are marked down Poloni. I saw you hanging out in the freezer next to the other Polonians the other day." I said, "No, no, that is my cousin." I said, "No, your cousin looks just like you, so I have to assume that the two of you are the one and the same." You see, when you get old and you sometimes tend to lose it, uh, I haven't lost anything except my sense of silliness. I've actually got worse since I got older because you could book the stage out for me. It's like my mother when I was young in the 60s. They thought there was a problem with me, and she took me to a psychiatrist, and they did all these tests. They put diodes in my head and flashing lights and what have you, and cables. And eventually they said to her, "Mrs. Wood, please put your son in a cage." Mom was a little bit hard of hearing. She thought stage, and she said, "Oh, my son is going to be a famous actor. I'm going to put him on the stage." Well, Shakespeare has never been the same since. I could go down to the casino and I could book out the auditorium for one night only. The old man show, the glom, the glorious old man. Yes, the glorious, good-looking old man. That's me, of course. Don't know about you, but that's me. But I don't know if that's such a good idea because some people might think I'm a little bit out of their range. I've got this idea that some very strange people live upstairs in my head, and I have these ongoing conversations. Sometimes arguments goes on for days. At one stage, I had Lord Nelson living in the old white lighthouse upstairs there, and he had a whole fleet of ships in the bay. But that was a long time ago. Now there's some late 18th century fellas. I think they're Italian merchants or everything because they're all speaking Italian and they're all Avantang and Rapido and things like that. And by the way, that music you were listening to, that was one of my creations. What I do is I create algorithms that I then put instructions into so that I can use AIs to create videos, animated videos, sales techniques, or sales strategies that work. I wish my eye would work instead of keep on closing. I had an op on this about 2 weeks ago. I tell you, the cataract is gone, but the eye is still there. It still has this weird closing thing. And I'm sure give it another couple of years and I'll be fit as a fiddle and my hair might grow back. I'll still be glom, but maybe I'll be glom. Glorious good looking old man. And of course I've got my glow. Every glom or every glom needs a glow. If you don't know what a glow is, I feel so sorry for you. My condolences. But I've got my glow. Her name is Sue. Good looking old woman. Yeah. Okay. Told you, me as a bicycle ride on inflated air, not even in the tires. And if you look at me and you look, this guy's weird. Look at his face. Oh no. It's like put a paper packet over it. Yes, you want to laugh. I know, I can see that the corners of your face are creeping up. I don't want to laugh. It's not funny. It's not funny. What's he trying to do to me? I didn't like it started with my accents. I grew up. I'm talking about accents. I must tell you, Saturday mornings have always been a little bit of a strange thing for me because I'm not even awake, and I can hear my voice has already gone down the passage, and it's trying to get out the front gate to run away down the road and join the circus, or whatever it's decided to do. But I can hear what it's doing. And it's trying all these different accents and things to get away from me. And they are very, very funny and very comical and poetic. I mean, one day he might be a little Indian man from India selling some morsels coming all at night, uncle. Why are you like that? Or he might be some other fella from over there, she come to kiss you goodbye in the blind stone. Or it might just be me in a very bad mood. Or it might just be Uncle Ludwig. Now, Uncle Ludwig's another character. Another thing I do is, as you know, these AIs nowadays are created to create pop music, jazz, and all those other things and those cinematic taxi music, I call it. Taxi, very taxi. So I write algorithms and I instruct these algorithms that you post into the AIs to write various forms of music, including various forms of classical music, like Baroque. Now, for the uninformed, Baroque is not, yes, an old fashioned type of Baroque. It's music that came before classical music, which is the age of Bach and people like that. Hello, Bach, and you guys really don't have a clue, do you? Where you get all your musical knowledge from now is from those days. Because way back in the 1000s, 11s, and 12s, they had plain song, which was very much like this and very boring. And from that, it developed, and then they got to point and counterpoint, which is where Uncle Johann Sebastian Bach came in. Da 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 da. You see the development? And at the same time, around about that time, 1600, you had a Hungarian period, which is that momentary lack of sound in a musical piece that builds a drama. See how I built the drama there? I just stopping talking. Yeah, true story. Now, let me tell you the story of True Story. Many years ago, when I was a fisherman in a cow, which is Port Alfred, I was sitting next to a braai fire one December night, and these people from the Transvaal, we call them Walies. I should mention I was born in the Transvaal, so I suppose I'm an old Wali. I was born in the Western Highlands, the Western Highlands and Highfields of the Transvaal, you ken. If you're not been born there, you're not a Scotty, right? Anyway, and I came to live in the Eastern Cape for many years, and I was living down there and living in the Willows Caravan Park, and there was a big fire, and some of these Walies came and sat down, and there was two guys, Jan and Koos. Now, I'm telling you this in all honesty, it is a true story. People joke whenever I say true story, everybody bursts out laughing because they know what's about to come. One of these alleged true stories, which is actually very hilarious sometimes because sometimes they are true and sometimes they're made up and sometimes they are actually the truth. So Jan and Koos sit down there and goes, I've got to tell you a story about, no, Koos says about it. I've got to tell you about the story about Jan this afternoon. We went down to the West Beach and we threw our lines into the water. Threw. Now, listen to the way I'm talking. Listen to the accent. And the South Africanism, the way he was speaking. Like, okay, you asked me. Well, true story. And it wasn't long, and Jan got a bite, and he strike. And he reel and he reel, and he fight the fish, and he fight the fish, and he fight the fish. And I sit next to him. Well, Jan is sitting there next to me. He said, every time, of course, it's telling story, he's saying, true story. And he was fighting the fisherman. True story. And the motorbikes were racing up and down, and the surfers were surfing. That's true story. Yeah, true story. And but after a while, I managed to get the fish out. True story. But with all those things work, I actually worked up a little bit of a on my stomach. But there were no ablutions on the toilet. True story. So I ran behind the sand dune and I did my business. True story. When I was finished, I needed to clean up, but I didn't have any toilet paper. True story. So I used my finger. And the guy says, true story. And to this day, whenever I tell that story, I say, true story. And everybody bursts out laughing. I trust you've enjoyed this true story. Okay. What else can I tell you? This patcher, this bald patcher, I wasn't bald yet. I've been through a couple of years of hell on earth. But I had a couple of these Native Americans moving here. That's not called that land there, that bald land there. That's Apache land. That's Apache land, man. Yeah, yeah, true story. Okay, so if you like my tour stories, please let me know. Pass a comment, like, share, go viral or whatever it is. But remember, I'm the glom, glorious, good-looking old man with my glow. Good-looking old woman. Have a great evening, folks. Maybe tomorrow night I'll tell you another true story.